It's Monday, November 14th, 2022. I'm Andy Johnson. Thanks for staying with us here at WESN. This is how we're going to begin. This is what we will be doing over the next hour and a half. This is AM Prime on this Monday morning. We're talking in moments from now with Mr. Derek Richardson. He's head of the organization known as the Estate Police Association, and probably you should have seen it coming. The union has taken action against the company which employed the security guards who lost their lives in that famous Pennywise heist a couple of weeks ago. We're also talking with Mr. Raju Ramjit about the sluice case that is in jeopardy. He's among the Arangas Farmers Association, and they're talking about how that has affected their businesses with rainfall in the last couple of weeks and days. And then we're talking with Mr. Dave Pagiot. He's signing himself out as a patriot, and he's in the business of making music for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, wherever they are, whether at home or not. Of course, we're talking about surveying the region, up and down the region, with a look at what's happening in other countries. So those things and more on the program on this edition. All right, now let's get to the opening discussion. Derek Richardson, the president of the Estate Police Association. You remember the incident in which a couple of security guards lost their lives by guys who staged a heist at Pennywise in Laro, Maine. Good to see you, sir.
Hi, good morning. Good morning to you, Andy. Good morning to your listeners, your viewers.
Oh, all right. So would that, you think people saw this coming?
Well, we sort of hinted it. Okay, let me just go back.
Yeah.
The 19th or the 9th, right? You know, you have 9/11, we have 99.
Yes. Okay.
2022.
Yes.
It was a sort of a watershed day for the association as far as the safety and security of our officers are concerned. And we decided that we needed to look at this incident a little deeper than, okay, the incident will happen and there will be some investigation and the company would pay funeral benefits and, and that will go. So we decided to look at it. First off, what we did, we reported it to the OSH, and we were waiting. Well, of course, the OSH will do their thing, but we sort of tried to interact with the company. I mean, I sent a message on to the CEO asking him what he was going to do in relation to the families, and he didn't respond. And then we heard that he said he was really that he didn't respond to us. So we approached Mr. Maraj with all the information that we would have had in our possession, and we said to him, is it likely to succeed? And he came back to us and he said, yes, that there's a strong likelihood that based on the evidence that we would have presented to him, information, in fact, that we would have presented to him, that there's a strong likelihood that the case can succeed. So it is a line in the sand that we have drawn, quite frankly, that the association is no longer willing to just accept the poor protection of our officers. When we started, everybody would have heard about the remuneration, but most importantly is really the protection of life. And these companies need to put things in place, right, for the best practices for the services that they would have been contracted to carry out, and have our officers better trained, better equipped, and better protected.
All right, I want to see if we could take it point by point, but let's go back to where you started by saying that you all had written to him at the time of the incident, on the basis of the incident, and that he didn't respond to you all. Let's talk about that. What were you all seeking then?
Well, we were seeking a discussion, especially considering the survivors, what was going to be done, because we are quite aware in previous incarnations of something such as this, all the companies would do is pay the funeral benefits, pay for the funeral. Mr. Peters was the father of 3. Okay, he had and then but one son over the age of 18, and he would have had 2 girls, 1 6 and 1 2. And when we looked at what is happening, what it was said, and how they were operating, I mean, at the funeral, when Mr. Nicholas could get up on the podium and speak so glowingly about the friendship he had with Mr. Peters, and then not say anything. And up to now, I mean, it's nearly 2 months. 2 months now already, and nothing has been done or said to the families.
And Mr. Nichols is an official of the company.
They are the Nicholas brothers. One is the
Nicholas.
CEO and one is the director.
Yeah. So they hadn't responded to your first attempt to find out what's the situation, how they will treat with this, how they will treat the survivors of these people.
Yes, and also yes, exactly, he hasn't responded, and also you have to how are you dealing with the survivor in this Piola Batiste? You know, one of the things is that she's entitled by our agreement with them for workmen compensation, and that workmen compensation is woefully inadequate. You know, so the situation is now that she is out of hospital. She's been in and out for various reasons. She had a number of surgeries done, and we are quite concerned about, her continued well-being and how would she be able to support herself. Bearing in mind that she got injured in the line of duty, workmen compensation is not going to do anything substantial. And some may say, well, okay, she was working and she could have put things in place for herself. But when you're working for $18.76 an hour, plus whatever other allowances you get, it is quite difficult to really put things in place after you have a number of children to send to school and all of that. So
you're saying that on the basis of what the lived reality is, right? Not that people are necessarily saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you see, Andy, it must stop. It must stop at some point in time. That we can't just pay lip service and, as an association, we speak and we say things, but must be followed up by some sort of action, some sort of tangible action to say enough is enough.
Yeah. So what is this lady saying in the meantime? What has she been saying since she's at least come out of the hospital after these several weeks?
She's quite, she's a bit still under shock, I spoke with her personally, and it was quite heartbreaking, to actually speak with her. She could call and she asked to speak with me. So we had a video call, and this is a lady who is extremely strong, and Trinidad and Tobago, you would not know the strength of this individual, her character, and her physical strength to be able to sustain that sort of injuries and still have the sort of spirit that she has. She's fighting. We had put out that we needed people to donate some blood when she went back in the hospital. And we also put out, yes, it did happen. The surgery went off. But there's also the financial need. The financial need ongoing, because with her injuries, she is not going to be able to return to duty, for sure.
Well, I was trying to come to that. What is her disposition about going back to this job? You're saying that's not on the cards.
That is absolutely not on the cards. That is absolutely not on the cards. Huh?
Yeah.
When you give your life to a company, and you basically nearly gave your life to a company, I've heard somebody say, well, the company, it's a risky job, and those are the hazards of doing a job. Yeah, those are the hazards. You sign on to that. But you, as a company, you have a duty of care to ensure that the job that you're carrying out is pretty well covered by your practices and the protection that you afford your people. And if you don't do it, we think that we have a duty of care to our members to hold you, the employer, accountable to that.
And so precisely because these are the hazards of the job, the employer should take that into account in the kinds of arrangements they make to support employees and to protect them from these kinds of eventualities. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because it is a fact that you're in the security industry, that you are around firearms, or that we are in a high crime area, you know. So you are exposed to that. Now, but if you don't get the training and the equipment, right, you're putting you're being exposed a little more. Now, and when you look at what happened, when Trinidad and Tobago was seeing what happened, the type of firepower that is outside there, the type of intent, criminal intent that is outside there. And you would have listened, we would have been proposing a number of things for the safety and security of the people in the industry. Bulletproof vests. None of the vests may have saved them because of the type of firepower is outside there, right? But generally, in the industry, training, these companies pay lip service to training. A lot of them, in fact, not all, a lot of them have pretty good training. A lot of them just pay lip service to the protection of the officers and the remuneration. And also the clients who are contracting these companies, they look for the lowest common denominator. They look for the lowest bid, regardless of what they want to do. They want to pay the lowest, and they don't really look into the operations of the company, right? And see exactly if that the company is operating above board, where the training and development and everything is concerning the people who you are contracted to have your business done.
So it suggests what you're saying there is that there are some companies who are probably more attendant to or unattentive to what they should be providing in the delivery of that service to the people who seek their services. What you're saying is that in some cases, the companies who require this kind of security support for their companies look to pay as little as possible, and therefore you get, people say you get what you pay. If you want peanuts, you get, if you want to pay peanut price, you get peanut service, right?
See, no, it is a competitive environment outside in private security, because you paid after everybody paid for a contract, right? So what happens is that, as I've said, that people, there are big players in this business who, because of their deep pockets, have been successfully bringing down the cost of security of the bids, because of their ability to sustain lower bids and lower costs, right? And so to counter that, you have other players coming down so low, in that the other additional costs that will be attached to a bid. So let's say you bid $24, you bid at $24 per officer, right? The money that you would have probably looked to spend on training and development, right? You're now gonna put that money aside to try and sustain the bid, and that is the problem that we have in the industry, right? And the private security owners, they have all sat back and allowed the major player in this game to control the cost of contracts. We've gone on record as breaking down the cost of an officer. If you're paying the minimum wage of $17.50, and then you would have been contractually obligated to do certain things concerning annual leave, sick leave, uniforms, and all of that, your health charge and all of that. And we've broken it down to about $22 an hour. But you have people, in fact, bidding just around $24, $25 an hour, and winning bids in state companies and all of that. So that is where it is, that the industry is being controlled, and we have said so since 2018 when we got into office, that the industry is being controlled by a major player, and that major player is Amalgamated Security, because it is where it is. Let us put it where it is. We raised the alarm when they went into $24 for an hour for an officer in TSTT, and their cost is $25, because they pay $20 for an officer plus $5 for a firearm. And it is madness outside there in the competitive world right now. And our officers are being the pawns, playing the blank pawns. And because of that, we have taken the line in the sand and say, listen, enough is enough. If you're going to engage in that kind of behavior, you need to protect our officers. You need to have better insurances for officers.
So to what extent this is a defining moment, you think, or it can be a defining moment in these relations?
Well, of course, whatever is settled either in the court or outside of the court, right? But it does send a signal, and we are sending a signal to all security companies that once you do not provide the proper training, the proper equipment, and even remuneration, right? That we are prepared to go to the nth degree for our officers. This is what we have done, and this is what we have committed to do, right? Not just in this instance, because there are going to be more, right? But this is where the association has signaled that we are actually going to go once you have not done your due diligence in the protection of our officers.
Yeah, I haven't gone through the details of the action that you all have filed, that Mr. Mirage has filed on your behalf, but so can you give us a sense of what is the statement of case? It's I think from what the report that I heard referred to was, I said, lapses in the kinds of protection, the conditions of work under which these security guards have to work. And so the thing is pointing to what should be that is not, right?
Yes. Okay. Well, first to begin, I've been speaking about training and equipment, right? That is a wide field, but it really speaks to continuous training. It speaks to the equipment that you use, right? So it's negligence, right? So if you do not provide me with the training and equipment and the right conditions to carry out my job, then you'll be negligent under the OSHA Act, right? But there's also a criminal, which I would acknowledge something, that there's also another liability which we can address at the court. Right? So in the instances at hand, right, we are questioning the protection that was afforded to them and the best practices in carrying out that particular function that were afforded to the officers at Allied for that duty.
Yeah. So the thing is saying, well, such and such should have been in place, such and such should have been part of the working arrangement. They are not, and therefore these is what you call lapses.
These are what you call lapses, yes. So Mr. Mirage is going to, that letter is going to be going on this week, right? And so I wouldn't want to produce much for to this. He's going, right? But yes, that is basically the foundation on which we are basing our claim.
Given what you understand about the business, and given what we know about how matters are filed, and it takes some time before they get on the docket in the court. Yes. When you see the beginning of your day in court, so to speak?
Well, Mr. Mirage will advise. It is, we know the justice system in Trinidad and Tobago is a slow one. We are quite hopeful that this matter will be on the dockets and to be heard and determined in the shortest order. To say when, I cannot say, but okay, we do have the best that's representing us.
Yeah. In the meantime, what could you make of the nature of the relations between workers generally in the industry and their employers?
Big question, Andy. Workers are extremely frustrated with a number of things. One would be, of course, will be the level of remuneration for the risk taken, and two will be the treatment of the companies by the officers, right? And there are certain things that constrict them from actually, being able to carry out the function. So right now, the industry is very volatile. This incident would have brought to bear everyone to see exactly what the officers are facing on a daily basis, having to work extremely long hours just to make ends meet. These officers work 24, 48 hours, just to make ends meet. So it is extremely frustrating that you have to work these long hours in a high risk area of the national security area. Because remember, we are out there. We guard the businesses. We provide security for businesses. And that is where the criminal element comes. Okay? So we are most exposed in the first place. So that where we, as a being the most exposed, we must be most protected also, right? And we are calling on those companies outside there, please do not wait. Please spend the money to keep training these officers to put better protection. We've asked the government numerous occasions since 2019 to look at removing taxes and duties on vests so that these same companies can be able to afford bulletproof vests, right? Look at the issue of armored vehicles. We've been told by these companies that they have requests inside for armored vehicles for a year or two and have not received any authority to bring these vehicles, they import these vehicles to carry out these sort of duties. So we need for everyone on board, from government to the private sector, to be on board with really and truly how do we effectively protect our members in carrying out this important function that the state recognizes, that the private citizens recognizes as extremely important, yet they are unwilling to pay and provide the sort of protection that is necessary for this sort of these sector workers.
Yeah, and you said that you talked about minimum wage or wages in one case. You said that by your own, the union's own reckoning, the minimum wage ought to be $21, $22 an hour, but that most companies are paying 17. So there's a gap between what you all consider to be the absolute minimum and what is the going rate in the industry.
Well, the going rate in the industry is everyone is from $17.50 to around $21 an hour at the best. There are some who pay above that at the basic rate, but some of them they also when they do it in front and take it behind. But really, it's $17.50 up to about $19, $20, $21 per hour. You do have the additional premium rates attached to if you carry a firearm, right? And some of them will give, some companies will have additional, little benefits for you to get for carry out certain duties. But generally, for your base rate, is about between $17.50 and $21 an hour.
And you're saying that state agencies which access the services from these companies not doing much better than those in the private sector, right?
Yeah, you see, and that's it. We raised the alarm concerning what happened at TSCT as proof positive of the role that state companies are playing in actually encouraging this sort of activity in other jurisdictions. That would not be allowed at all. So when you have the larger companies engaging in that sort of behavior, right, then it is only going to trickle down. And if you have that, then of course the person who's hiring a security company to do some pickups, to get their cash to the bank, right? They're going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
They are going to do the same thing.
Rather than what you might call trying to set a better example.
Trying to set a better example, or hiring the companies that actually have proper training. Okay, if you're going to hire someone to protect your money, right, you must make sure that that person, right, that you're hiring, that company that you're hiring, is well equipped, well trained, and current in all the best practices of the facility that you will. Otherwise, you're just paying someone because of probably insurance purposes. And a lot of businesses hire security just because of insurance, but they don't really want to put any money into the issue of the security business that they're contracting, right? So you go into stores and you see that there's an officer standing right in front there open. The first thing they're going to do is take him out. A lot of them do not have the structural capacity to house an officer, where to place an officer. So a lot of companies, they give a contract and you come in and they stand up in the store and you use the security guard, what to call them, and that are supposed to protect this hundred thousands and billions of dollars there. So you're in a jewelry store and somebody come, 2-3 guys come in and you're there with this firearm standing right in front of the take you out, and the take you, I mean, we saw it in High Street, you know,
Yes.
and how they operate. So businesses generally just have a security there for insurance purposes, and they don't really care too much about the safety and security of the office.
All right, we got to go, but let me just ask you for a quick comment on this. That the lady now who is convalescing, is there any sense about her disposition to go back to work or not?
No, that is impossible. That is out of the books concerning her return to duty. Not just physically, but mentally, it will be very, 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 very difficult for her to function in such a high risk area. So we have to seek, that's why we have to seek the best for her. How is she going to sustain herself? And open compensation is going to end up one point in time? No.
Yeah.
No.
All right, much to chew on still on the matter. But thank you very much for talking with us at this point, Mr. Richardson.
Thank you very much, Andy.
All right, Derek Richardson, head of the Estate Police Association in Trinidad and Tobago. The hazards of that job, what it entails. We will take a break, and when we come back, Mr. Raju Ramjit, the sluice gate over the Carney River, that's affecting their operations, farmers' operations in parts of the country. Stay with us.
At Belgroves, celebrating life is our commitment with integrity, compassion, and dignity for your loved ones. Belgroves Funeral Home and Crematorium, serving Trinidad and Tobago for over a century.
Your Christmas is safe with us at BCU. Police credit union. Police credit union. Your Christmas is safe with us at BCU. Police credit union. Police credit union.
Get an easy zero-interest Christmas loan at Police Credit Union today. Borrow up to $25,000 with affordable monthly payments. New members, you get up to $10,000. No interest, no installments until January. Apply online at www.policecreditunion.com. Loan subject to credit approval.
Whether it's a room for 1, 2, 3 or more, there's a room waiting with the ocean view almost to your door. Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa, the perfect getaway when you don't want to travel far. The Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa, Crown Point, Tobago. Call 639-8571 for your reservation.
Bill and Ruth fell in love with the Benjamin Moore color Dry Sage, but they tried to match it using another brand's paint.
I mean, it's close enough.
Almost identical, really. Yeah, there it is.
Never trust another paint to be a Benjamin Moore color.
With society plagued by a host of issues, with debates surrounding our urgent concerns falling short, with questions of our future not always being answered.
The conversation continues. Join me, Kemuel Pascal, as the voice of the youth comes to life. We will confront the controversial topics of today's world to gain answers that are key for a better tomorrow. One and One with me, Kemuel Pascal. Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Only on WESN Content Capital.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
Here's your chance to win a brand new Mazda CX-30, courtesy Movietown. Simply spend $200 or more at dbetstoys.com, Movietown, Port of Spain. Promotion ends November 12th.
Visit the store, you better shop online. You better call us now, I'm telling you why. dbetstoys.com is Movietown, Port of Spain. Hey! Living in victory every day.
Inspire, motivate, encourage, hope. It's about topical issues. It's about everything that you would want to know about hope, about life. At the end, you're going to say, yes, if he can do it, I can do it too. If she can, I can do it too.
No matter what they say, living in victory every day.
Nicole Lawson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
The issue, the continued rise in the price of flour and its impact on the cost of living in Trinidad and Tobago. How should we go about it? I want to ask you what has been revealed to you about the state of vulnerability in the country because of this exercise and because of what we're going through. Is the government losing the war on the vaccine front?
The discussion should revolve around the common good for the greatest number of people in Trinidad and Tobago.
How do we inculcate a sense of respect and regard for people who may not be of your own political ilk or persuasion?
The communities are now being used by political opportunists. So
when the tables are turned, it's the same way. Okay, this has been 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson, and we'll see you next time. Welcome back to the program. Up ahead, our discussion with Mr. Raju Ramjit from the Arangwes Farmers Association. The farmers in Trin City and Orange Grove are complaining about the matters of the sluice bridge and its effect on their ability to operate. Before we get there, however, let's begin a look around the region. We go to Jamaica, where it appears that the Auditor General is asking questions about the government's expenditure, the spend on COVID-19, and the Minister of Health there has responded. And we have a report from TVJ.
The Auditor General has found several flaws in how funds allocated to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic were spent by the Ministries of Health and Wellness and Labor and Social Security Ministry. The Auditor General's report on the findings was tabled in the House of Representatives yesterday. O'Shane Masters reports.
The government allotted just over $8 billion to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and the Ministry of Labor and Social Security got $1.1 billion. The report showed that the Ministry of Health and Wellness made payments totaling $337 million to 7 hotels and guest houses to provide quarantine accommodations, but only one of the service providers was contracted formally. The ministry also paid out $124 million to 8 suppliers for infrastructural works without any contract being in place. The Ministry of Health was also cited for failing to abide by the Financial Administration and Audit Act in the transfer of $174 million to several agencies, with concerns raised about the mechanisms put in place to monitor and track the COVID-19 emergency spending. The Health Ministry spent $189.21 million for the purchase of fixed assets, which were reportedly acquired to support its COVID-19 response efforts. The Auditor General found that the sum included $23 million worth of assets not included in its inventory and $2 million spent on television sets and tablets for which there was no indication on how they related to the ministry's COVID-19 response initiatives. The review found that the Ministry of Labor and Social Security's database provided no assurance that only eligible persons got humanitarian assistance nor were there records to ensure proper accountability and transparency in the receipt and distribution of items. O'Shane Masters, Radio Jamaica.
Meanwhile, the Health Minister says a fulsome response will be provided at Parliament's Public Accounts Committee PAC to irregularities identified by the Auditor General in how funds allocated to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic were spent by the ministry. The Auditor General's report on the findings was tabled in the House of Representatives yesterday. Dr. Tufton says the Permanent Secretary in his ministry, Dunstan Bryan, will be addressing the concerns.
The Chief Operating Officer, who is the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry, who presides over these issues, would be required to give his response, and I think that's the appropriate place to do it. And so I would await and encourage you and others to await the date at the PAC when those responses would be forthcoming. So I'm going to ask you for some patience, and the country for some patience on the issue until then, which hopefully will be soon.
For the opposition spokesman on health, the details of the report are concerning.
There's always in the National Contract Program, or the public procurement as it is called now, facilities for emergency procurement, which I note from the AG's report that some have been entered into, but the ministry has not given justification for those. So even if they had entered into an emergency procurement with those hotels, there ought to have been a contract. And the ministry has exposed itself to a lot of potential payments which they might not be liable for. For example, as quoted, they had to pay the light bill as well as 90% of the water rate. Now, how can you reconcile that?
And from Jamaica, we go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where SVG TV has been reporting about how the tourism officials there welcome the 2022-2023 cruise ship season.
The first cruise ship for the 2022-2023 cruise tourism season with over 3,000 passengers. The British cruise ship Britannia left Port Kingston at around 6 p.m. this evening. After a 2-year lull due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2022 cruise season in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is set for a record-breaking comeback, with approximately 326,000 cruise ship visitor arrivals expected from a total of 305 scheduled calls, of which 12 will be inaugural calls. On NBC Radio's face-to-face program yesterday, Acting Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel encouraged tourism stakeholders to enhance their services to meet the needs of the influx of visitors expected in SVG for the season.
If you're going to have over 300,000 persons stepping foot on St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the population of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is just over 100,000 persons. So you are going to have approximately 3 times that amount of persons here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And therefore, this means, of course, the kind of services that we have to be offering, you know, to tourists coming in here. You know, our hotels, our taxis, you know, our restaurants, you know, all of these, you know, are areas that come into focus. Yes. And so we have to be able now to improve on our delivery as we increase our numbers.
At a news conference on Monday, Minister of Tourism Carlos James says every Vincentian has a responsibility and a role to play to ensure there is tourism awareness.
We always say tourism is everyone's business, but I think we need to spend a bit more time in dialogue with the organizations, civic organizations, community groups, to ensure that people understand that tourism is not just in relation to sun, sea, and sand, or staying at a hotel. But if you look across the linkages that will be created from the tourism sector, the farmers and the fishers also will have a readily available market for their fresh produce. The taxi operators, the tour guides, gardeners, persons who are skilled in certifications in bartending and hospitality, even because everyone knows that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a beautiful Caribbean island where you can come to visit and get 32 different experiences in our 32 island.
All right, so here's this. Farmers at the Orange Grove estate in Trin-City are pleading with the government to immediately repair a damaged sluice gate, which is allowing a backflow from the Caroni River into their lands. They said 3 breaches in the riverbank are also letting water into the lands. And Mr. Raju Ramjit, who is the head of the association there, spoke about this with Newsday a couple of days ago. He's our guest on the program in this segment. Mr. Ramjit, good to see you.
I'm on it.
Good, thanks. Well, talk with us about what the situation is now, or when last you checked. What has happened? Has there been any improvement?
No, it actually got worse because where the sluice gate has the crack, it's getting bigger and bigger due to the last rainfall we had.
And so you've tried to bring this to the attention of the people, that's the Orange Grove estate?
Yeah, well, to the rest of farmers, we let them know what is going on and what we could do to rectify the problems. I mean, the authorities have been notified. They say they are aware of it, but that we need something to happen for the meantime. We know it's rainy season. Major works can't really be done to the banks because of the rainy season. But if we could have some kind of backup plan to at least a pump put there, so while the water coming in, we could get it out back fast as it's coming in to keep the levels and the water levels in the estate at a safe level, not to flood anyone land or anything.
And who are the authorities in this case?
Well, they say Ministry of Agriculture, Engineering, and the Minister, I believe, is aware of it as well.
You say you believe, you're not sure?
I'm not sure yet.
Who should make him be aware of it?
Well, I don't know. Probably, I don't know if you take a look at the news and see what's going on.
You think somebody would have seen...
I believe someone would have seen or heard and take it up with him.
Yeah, in the same way that we saw it being reported in the Newsday and we thought it was important enough to follow. You think that there are people who are in the Ministry of Agriculture should see this?
Right, well, the ICNTT is aware of the situation and they say they made their calls and whatnot, so.
What has to be done? What are the details of what has to be done?
What has to be done? That sluice gate needs to be completely rebuilt. Because currently, right now, as long as Caroni rains, water is coming into the estate. Even though no rain has fallen in the estate, but water is coming into the estate. From last week, Tuesday till Friday morning, water was flowing into the estate. And we didn't have much rain in the estate. So we actually had water reach further up in the estate where farmers don't usually get flood.
So it's performing in a way that you didn't expect, even where you expect flooding, it is happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is the effect of the flooding precisely? So that you can't work your crops.
So we have farmers lose their crops and willing to go back and plant until the problem is solved. So that all now, so we would have farmers farming their land with crops, getting ready for the market for Christmas. Even all now, some farmers had lost crop that was already reaping. So we have that loss of farmers to the market.
And it's for the Ministry of Agriculture to fix it, or the people from whom you all get your permission to operate the Orange Grove estate officials?
But I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that, so I don't know.
But I mean, with it the Ministry of Agriculture?
But we're looking for some kind of immediate relief because we have farmers waiting to farm the land and they can't.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean. So from whom? From the Ministry of Agriculture?
Yeah, I guess Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah. Since you have raised this alarm, who has been in contact with you all, if anybody?
Nobody at all. And this issue was raised since the 28th of October.
Yeah, and you've heard from nobody. From whom do you all expect to hear?
Well, I believe we'd expect to hear something from the engineering department and maybe the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah. And that has nothing like that has happened to this point.
No.
So what do you think is the situation today as we speak? You saying what?
Every time rain falls, farmers are on edge.
And what does that mean when you say they're on edge? What do you mean? Like, so they have a feeling that this is going to happen.
Like we anticipating the water to come in and reach further up into the estates.
Yeah. Can you talk about the extent of the damage?
Thousands of dollars.
Thousands.
Thousands, and it has left at least, I believe, close to 100 acres unfarmable right now.
And what would it take, 100 acres, what would it take to bring them back to activity? What would it require?
Well, one, the flooding have to fix, right? That is the main thing. The land would not be able to be farmed if it's flooding for the rainy season.
Yeah. And the idea is to fix the gate?
Yes. To fix the gate. Also, when the gate was functioning properly, without any crack or any damage to it, there was a problem that when carrying remain high for 24 to 48 hours, maybe more at times, right? We have the sluice gate closed for at least 3 days. And if we accumulate other rainfall, it just stays into the estate. It has no way to leave the estate until Caroni drops to a safe level where the sluice gate can open.
And what kind of time frame are we talking about? How many days does it take for that to happen?
For the last rainfall, it took 4 days. So that water stayed in the estate for 4 days. And then when the sluice gate actually opened, it takes another 2 days for it to completely run out of the estate.
So you lose more than a week of productivity time every time that happens?
Every time that happens.
And this is an ongoing kind of experience
ongoing. Yes, this is ongoing.
Once you have a rainy season, you have to bargain for this. You have to expect that this will happen.
Yes. Yeah, I expect that this would happen, yes.
Yeah. And so that wipes out all production and productivity for a period of time.
Almost stops it instantly. So after a farmer sees that happening, they're very skeptical into planting again and taking the risk to put the money out to go back and lose everything within just half an hour to an hour of rain.
Yeah. And it calls for raising the level of the gate. Is that it?
Well, I don't know if there's a different design of the gate could be taken to at least let water out while carrying is high. I don't know if that's possible. So this is why the farmers, we recommend a pump to work with the sluice gate. So when the sluice gate cannot be open, we could lower the levels into the estate at a safe amount that wouldn't put anyone farms in danger of being flooded.
Yeah. And normally, with whom do you all meet? Or who comes to meet with you all? Who asks to meet with you all in these kinds of situations?
To be honest, I really have had no interaction with anybody talking about this and hearing our problems.
So who do you expect to hear from then? Who do you expect to treat to this matter?
But I don't know. We would like the minister to come and have a look and talk with us and bring the engineering department with them and hear us out.
That's the Minister of Agriculture?
Yes, Minister of Agriculture.
You all expect that he would see the advocacy in the papers and in programs like this, or are you somebody going to write him or get messages to him directly?
Well, I was told that the ASTT had contacted them and the ministry, and they are aware of the problem. So we would like to see the minister come down and check us out.
Yeah, you said you were told that? By whom?
Yes. By the ASTT, Agricultural Society
The
of
Agricultural
Trinidad.
Society of Trinidad and Tobago. So they are sort of taking up the issue on your behalf,
Well,
on behalf of
But
those
I don't
farmers.
know. That's what they said, but I can't confirm anything. But the farmers here, we are pleading for a little help.
How many people we talking about here? What was the size of the farming group in that area?
In that area, we have at least 25 to 30 farmers directly affected by that. And now with the water coming in, it's going to reach more farmers. It has reached more farmers than what was directly affected.
So what do you all do in circumstances such as this? How do you spend your time, sort of?
Right, but like I said, the water was always there. It wasn't as bad as this, but because of the compromise in the gate and the Carney banks being breached 3 spots, it has made the lands on them unaccessible. Even though they have 1 or 2 plots that may not get water, you can't access them.
Yeah. So what are you doing when you finish talking with us? What are you doing for the rest of today, for instance?
For instance, well, for me, my plot was spared for the meantime, but the amount of water is coming in, I don't have much time. And for me to enter my plot, when the street is flooded because of the water coming in, there's over a quarter mile of flooded water I have to walk through. I can't even access it with a vehicle.
A quarter mile of water. So you're going through land
flooded water, flooded street.
Yeah. So you're going through land for at least a quarter mile that is waterlogged.
Right. My land is not waterlogged, but around it is flooded.
Yeah.
I had made some banks earlier in the year and raised right around the land, so that's what had prevented the flood water so far. But seeing that the water level is constantly rising in the estate because of the crack getting bigger and bigger, I don't know how long I'll be there for.
You don't know how long you'll be there for. So what you mean is that it's possible that
yes, it's possible that I can lose everything.
Right, that's what I was trying to get at.
And all my friends around me, my rest of farmers, they have lost everything. I haven't seen them since the rain because they can't really do anything with the lands right now. Even though the water has subsided, the land is wet, you can't really get a tractor in to prepare back the land to plant or anything. So you still have to wait.
So what happens in cases like that? I mean, so people just, you suspend your activity. This is your economic activity. You suspend that for a period of time and you just wait it out? How do
yes,
people...
so some of them have decided to wait it out till dry weather, I believe.
Is it some of them?
And then they wouldn't plant for the whole year of next year unless the gate is repaired. So they will probably just have 1 or 2 crops in for the dry weather, and after that, the land will become inactive again if your gate is not repaired.
And so these things have implications for how people take care of their families and so on.
Correct. Because as farmers, we have bills like everybody else, like electricity, rent, mortgage, everything. We have bills like everybody else to pay. Yeah. And we're not being able to provide our income for that. We have bills piling up.
And what do you do in cases like that? People just sit by and hope for things to change.
In cases like that, well, you have to look for plan B, right? If it's even getting a part-time job somewhere else, looking for a piece of land to prepare and plant.
Yeah. And this is something that happens every year, once there's rain?
Yeah. Like I say, it happens every year, but it's not as bad as this. It don't affect most of the lands like this because of the compromise in the sluice gate. But yes, where I do farm, once rainfall, the street is flooded, but not as bad as this.
And what kind of crops you farm?
I farm sweet pepper, tomatoes, celery, that variety of crops.
And that's generally what happens there, or different farmers grow different kinds of crops?
Different type of crops. You have pumpkin, you have corn, you have buckwheat, pimento, or a wide variety of crops.
Yeah. And you all are the farmers who get your stuff into the wholesale market in McCoy and so on?
McCoy and Port of Spain as well.
Yeah. And you're looking at a bleak Christmas in light of this?
Yes, we're not looking at it at a nice Christmas. And I hear they asking farmers not to price gouge and raise the price of goods, but the price of goods is controlled by supply and demand in the market. And asking farmers to be lenient and whatnot. But I've seen farmers earlier this year sell tomatoes for $2 and $3 a pound. We also ask consumers to be lenient with farmers because at that price, there's not much profit margin for us to plant our next crop.
Yeah, if you're selling at $2 and $3 a pound.
$2 and $3 a pound.
Yeah. It's tough going, Mr. Ramjit.
Yes, yes.
And so you're putting some store in your hope of meeting with the Minister of Agriculture and then getting...
Right, and probably for a solution, well, we need a solution immediately. I understand that there's rain weather, but we asking if there's a backup plan that we could help the farmers get back to planting the land for the meantime. So on farm, the farmers have, we think a pump could help us do that.
Yes.
You know, if so as the water coming in, it gets to go back out. It don't stay and accumulate in the estate.
Right. At least you all have a suggestion, but you want to be able to put that suggestion to the Agricultural Society. Well, the Agricultural Society help you put that.
Well, we have made that suggestion.
Yes. But thus far, it has not been addressed in that kind of way. And so you all want to meet with the people who will make the determination as to what should happen, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you very much for talking with us on this, Mr. Ramjit, Raju Ramjit, farmers in the Orange Grove area. Thank you very much. We will try and follow it up in a couple of days to see what sort of reaction you've gotten. But thank you very much for talking with us up to this point. Well, that's where we take a break. And on the other side of this break, we'll be talking with a man called Dave Patriot. It's spelled Pae3ot, Maiku. He's a soca artist. Stay with us. This is AM Prime on this Monday.
Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police credit union. Police credit union. Your Christmas is safe with us at PCU. Police credit union. Police credit union.
Get an easy zero-interest Christmas loan at Police Credit Union today. Borrow up to $25,000 with affordable monthly payments. New members, you get up to $10,000. No interest, no installments until January. Apply online at www.policecreditunion.com. Loan subject to credit approval.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
What's the best way to grab the attention of viewers? Please exercise more patience. You have to be kidding me.
Doing what we do best. I'll say at the very least it's a conspiracy of laziness against the people.
Join me, Keaton Shaw.
And me, Sean Michael Small, for Talking Point.
Weekdays from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m.
We go in depth on the trending issues and engage the most controversial newsmakers
as we get them to account to the people for their actions.
You can't go to the government with nothing. You can't go to cabinet with an empty hand, with a wish.
I'm glad that we're having this a sober, mature discussion.
In the present situation, I expect
a continuation of the chaos.
Join us for the discussion, Mondays to Fridays,
only on WESN,
the content capital.
Whether it's your family meet and eat, or your own personal getaway retreat, a business trip accommodation, or a couple's celebration, the Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa has room for you. There's always sumptuous, delicious cuisine, and the gym and tennis court for a good workout routine. Then relax by the pool or on the private beach, or just head to the spa. It's also within reach. The Cocoa Reef Resort and Spa, Tobago's best beach resort. For reservations, call 639-8571 or check our website.
At Belgroves, celebrating life is our commitment with integrity, compassion, and dignity for your loved ones. Belgroves Funeral Home and Crematorium, serving Trinidad and Tobago for over a century.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
Living in victory every day.
Inspire, motivate, encourage, hope. It's about topical issues. It's about everything that you would want to know about hope, about life. At the end, you're going to say, yes, if he can do it, I can do it too. If she can, I can do it too.
No matter what they say, living in victory every day.
Nicole Lawson Live, living in victory every day. Every Sunday at 8 p.m. and Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. on WESN.
Welcome back to the program. Moments from now, we'll be talking with a man called Dave Maiku, but inside there is the name that he's known by in the business, Patriot. He's a musician of extraordinary talent, we are told. We'll get to him, and we'll get to some of that in moments from now. But right now, we continue our look around the region. We go to Grenada this time, and the government there says it's intending to tackle the issue of pension reform. They see this as a challenge, and we have a report from the GBN News in St. George's.
During a town hall meeting earlier this month, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell said his government remains committed to regularizing the public service, but that the issue of pension reform must be addressed.
We indicated that to have a full regularization of the public service, pension reform is necessary. I never said that unless there is pension reform, there will be no regularization. We are saying the two must go together. If we don't address pension reform, you may get pension on paper, but when you retire, you will not have a funded pension. And the reality, therefore, is that pension reform must happen for your sake.
The Prime Minister said that a pension reform committee has been established. For former Senator Christopher Diali, he foresees a major challenge on the hands of government on the issue of pension reform.
The more people you bring onto the established public service with the current pension arrangement is the more important and critical it becomes for pension reform. And pension reform is not a simple thing, because if you don't do it properly, remember, government pension scheme, they're paying NIS for government workers, and still they have 100% funded pension arrangement where nobody contributes. So if you retire, apart from getting a lump sum, if you make 26 and 2/3 years in the service, you're going home with government pension plus NIS pension. Right? Some people leave the government service getting more than the last pay they leave with,
While commending the work already done by the Deacon Mitchell-led government, Mr. Diali says it may not be so easy with changes within labor. He cites government's backpedaling on statements to make contract workers in the service permanent.
The Prime Minister said in the last Parliament that they're removing the restriction on the FMA where you suspend it and so on, and they're going back now to these guidelines that has to be there. So when you say that, and you say you're going back in 2023, or a new budget is going to be based going back to the Fiscal Management Act and its KPIs, for want of a better word, the things that they have put there, how then do you bring all these people onto the public service? You cannot, you're restricted.
Mr. Diali says while there are good public officers who know what they are doing, There are others who do nothing but collect his salary. He believes a lot of these issues within the public service stem from politicizing the public service.
We have to transform the mind, and politically and culturally, and that is not an easy feat.
Economist Colin Gilchrist, a former public officer, spoke about what he considers the demoralizing of the public service over the years. With a new administration at the helm, he wants to see public servants who are loyal to service the country and not to politicians.
Well, the question of pension reform, social security reform, retirement services reform, that seems to be a big issue emerging in many countries across the world, here in the Caribbean as well. And in Trinidad and Tobago, we have our own issues with that. But let's go to Guyana now, where following allegations published in a local media outlet that the public service minister, her name is Sonia Parag, and her team were denied access by the APNU AFC Member of Parliament, Vince Roy Jordan, from entering a public building in what is called Region 5. That's early last week, Tuesday. We have a report of this from the organization HGP TV.
According to Big Smith News Watch article published on Tuesday, a Partnership for National Unity, Alliance for Change Member of Parliament Vince Roy Jordan, and a group of elderly residents from Belladrum Region 5 shut the door on an initiative by central government, which included Minister of Public Service Sonia Parag, to roll out several developmental and skills training for youths in the community. The opposition MP Vince Roy Jordan, during a video statement on Tuesday in response to the allegations, refuted those claims while describing the article's headline as malicious and mischievous.
In nowhere or at no time the minister's visit was to meet youths in the community, neither was it at any time for the development of the youths within the community.
MP Jordan further claimed that the minister visited the Belladrum village to take control over the Community Development Council building, which is used as a multi-purpose building to give the PPC friends and supporters to utilize.
Only the minister wants a PPP operative to house his PPP business and office in that building. So I said to the minister very clearly, if you're coming here to do development for the residents, you must have a clear direction and a clear agenda for the residents.
He added that President Irfan Ali had visited the community 3 weeks ago to meet with residents and was told that a councillor and residents allegedly broke into the facility to accommodate the president's visit. Jordan, while claiming that the residents and councillor were instructed to repair the facility, noted that the chairman of the council, who controls the building, decided that no one will allow access to the building unless an audit is conducted to assess the losses.
I said to the minister very clear, we have no problem with development in any of our communities. But if you're going to come to our communities to do development, you must follow all the channels that are there.
The channels, he explained, are from the governing bodies, which include the central and regional government, Neighborhood Democratic Council, followed by the Community Development Council.
Okay, so we're talking now with a man named, they call him Patriot. His name is Dave Maiku. Some of what we are told about him is that he's one of a unique breed of entertainers who learned and developed, well, essentially on their own, but with assistance and sort of admiration of others and apprenticeship under other people. He was born in Trinidad into a respected and reputable musical family. His background aided the growth of his early love for music, which later transformed into a passion and a career. He's had this passion for entertainment as a child, and they said that was extraordinary. Lots of other things I said about him here, including the fact that one of those who was seen as, well, a mentor, his father, a man known as Trinidad Rio, when he was just a child. His passion grew and he began to develop new skills and improve himself in several musical aspects, such as songwriting and developing of lyrics. Mr. Maiku is our guest. Good to see you, sir.
Listen, good morning to you and the whole of Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the world log on and listening.
Yeah, I had some difficulty rehearsing how to pronounce your nickname, Patriot, the way it's spelled, P-A-E, the figure 3, I-O-T-T. How did that come about?
No, yeah, P-A-E number 3, letter O-T.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it was actually before I used to spell it P-A-T-R-I-O-T the proper way, right? And when I decided to make the change to come, well, when I came to UK, I was doing more reggae and dancehall at first. So when I decided to start back to do the soca and calypso and stuff and come back to Trinidad, I understand it had someone in Trinidad named Patriot already, spelled the same way like how my name was spelled. So I decided it was either give up on the name or change the spelling. Yeah.
Who was, you know who was that person? Somebody who was called Patriot before?
No, I don't know. It's my dad told me about the person, you know.
Yeah.
He said, I know a guy who does sing calypso called Patriot. Yeah. So automatically I just changed it.
Yeah. So Rio is your dad. Trinidad Rio is your dad.
Yes, yes.
And you think you got some of your talent from him, obviously.
Yeah, well, you know, it's the lineage. As it go, most kids pick up from their parents, you know.
And he,
as I said,
and he has another brother who is in the business as well. Rio.
Well, it's like the whole family. His brother Bunny B, you know Bunny B, he sings calypso.
Yes.
The mechanic who sings calypso also.
Yes.
That's his ex brother also. Yeah,
Bunny
he have a brother
Bino?
also. Yeah.
Bunny
Huh?
B, Bunny Bino.
Yeah, Bunny B. The B is for Brown.
Okay. No, well, Bino is somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you are sort of an ambassador for Trinidad music, for Caribbean music in the UK. Is that it?
Well, if they want to say ambassador, however they want to say it, but I actually just do my doing as being out here and trying to spread the culture and promote it wherever I go, whatever shows I do. I always fit a calypso in it and have a soca. So I always try to promote the country. So if they want to put it as ambassador or whatever, I don't mind taking the handle.
Yeah. So we want to talk about a little bit about your development before you finished school and went to the UK. Let's talk about how you came up in terms of developing as an artist.
Well, you know, from small growing up, you know, from a baby coming up, my dad, he was doing calypso. So it was a musical house, you know, he always singing, writing, and you grow up seeing that and that installed into you. So automatically you grow up that way too. So from small, I started singing and entering school competitions. In primary school, my dad used to come and be a guest, and I used to be going up on stage, sing with him, and also on stage when he's doing his guest appearance. And then I just continued doing like calypso in school, and have a neighbor. He's a Rasta man. He love reggae music, so he always have all the big youth, the yellow man, you roy, all them things. So I kind of grew up hearing those things too. And I used to go over by him and chill out and listen to music. That talking like early teens. And then I started to get into the reggae music, and we had lots of friends around who used to come and chant on the mic. So I started to get into chanting. These days was Ziggy Rankin, and these days the guys used to come around. All of us used to part together and sing from small. So I was a more the reggae side of things, started to sing with a band called Javai, which is a reggae band had in Trinidad. They branched off of 12 Tribe of Israel. And also started to sing with the 12 Tribe band, but I was doing reggae them times, more reggae. And that's all until like 16, 17, 18, still I was doing reggae. Because I even opened when Dennis Brown and Freddie McGregor came to Trinidad. I was fortunate to open that show for them as a youth. Yeah, I was fortunate to be the opening act on that show in the complex. So yeah, from there I ended up more into the. I went to Northeastern College. From Belmont I went Belmont Intermediate. From Belmont Intermediate, I left in Form 4 and went up to Sandy Grande to live, which I went to Northeastern College. And I started doing lots of calypso in the schools. These days was Stinger. I was competing against Stinger. This guy, Puppet Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, these were the guys at the school where I was competing against and coming fourth and third and stuff. So it was great. And after that, what happened growing up after that, I ended up leaving and come to the UK. So
go ahead.
Yeah, when I reached in the UK now, I had a cousin out here called Red Rum. They had a group called Paramoya, which was doing like hip hop. And as I reached, I was still doing my soca, my dancehall thing, and I joined up with them, and they wanted me to do they wanted me to do the Caribbean kind of dancehall. They wanted a dancehall effect. So I was like the ragga man in the group. And the first song we did was a song called War. And when we did this song, it had a guy, and we put it out, and a guy who controlled, he ran hip-hop in Greece. He was like the boss of hip-hop in Greece. He heard the song, and he came over and he signed us. He signed the song straight away, and we were all over the UK doing shows, which was nice. But remember, I just reached the UK and now started college, didn't have my passport back or nothing. And they started to have shows going all over Europe. And I cannot travel. So like after the third show and he realized I cannot travel, he told me, well, you know what, we got to drop you off because you can't come to all the shows and stuff. So that was our next stage where I just had to, it set me back a bit, you know, after that happened, I just had to relax, take it hard. It was hard, but I recovered and then started back into the soca.
Yeah, and so you're in touch with you're in league with some of the other Trinidad and Tobago Caribbeanians in the UK.
Yeah, but I do lots of gigs with Tobago, Crusoe, Alberto. These are the guys out here.
Right.
Yeah, because it had a place called the Tabernacle, it's like the home of Calypso music in London. And they always have, like once a month, they have a Dexter Can. He does cookie out here. He keeps a Calypso, first Saturday of every month, he have a Calypso show. So different Calypsonians come on and stuff. So yeah, I do lots of guests with him in that.
So that's your home, you would say?
No, Trinidad is, I'm based between both, Trinidad and
So you move back and forth?
Back and forth, yeah. Like I spent 2016, I was down there whole year. 2017, I did 6 months, 2018, 5 months. Yeah, so I'm always back and forth. It's just since the COVID, I haven't been moving like how it was before.
Yeah. Well, talk with us a little bit about how COVID affected your activities and the activities of people like you all in that milieu in the UK and the parts of Europe that you all would have become familiar with.
Yeah, but it was bad but I was a fortunate one that I didn't get the full effect of it. The fact being that I was working with a company still and I ended up on furlough. So it didn't hit me so bad, but I know other artists who go, it really bring them down. And it's not just that, it's the COVID, from since the COVID now is when we're really feeling it because the economy in a mess. So that is the problem here now.
You said what? The authorities didn't treat it in the way that people expected?
No, well, boy, nobody knew what to do. So I don't want to put the blame on anyone to say the authorities because it was something no one actually knew what was going on. And up to still this day, I think no one knew what went on. So I think as it was just, we reached a different stage and as I say, I don't know what most people might say, I think we was at a resetting point.
A resetting point?
Yeah.
For you?
For me, yeah, for me. I'm talking for me.
How have you translated that into going forward then? You're talking about doing a reset.
I just always say, no matter what happens, we have to go by what comes. We have to live by it. We can't just change it. Whatever they do, we have to adapt and live by it. So I adapted. But yeah, whatever comes, I adapt. Just like if it's politics and a party change, I don't have no worries, I adapt. We have to live, we have to survive.
Yeah. So as we speak, you are producing stuff.
Yeah. I actually have 2 parang out right now and a nice soca called We Dig.
We Dig?
We Dig. It's a song where I sing about the same thing we're talking about. 2 years we had no carnival, the COVID come and they said this one's going to be the greatest carnival of all. So we did, we in every single thing we did. If you play your radio too hard, we knock on your door.
Yeah. So what was the scene like, sort of this August in London, in the UK?
The scene for?
What was the scene like this past August, UK Carnival?
Yeah, it was lovely. It was lovely. It was a great carnival. Maybe had 1 or 2 little bad incidents, but not as much. And I had a friend who was over here from New York, and he said, after Trinidad, nothing here is the best. It's the greatest. He said, there's the only carnival he's going to come now after Trinidad.
So you performed in some of these big events?
Yeah. I did some work. I did some work for Carnival, and I also was with Colors on the road with Colors for Carnival.
It says here that among what you do is extempoing.
Yeah, I do extempo. I come Trinidad, I enter the extempo competition and stuff. Yeah, and I love it. It's just part of me. That's something that I love doing. It's like a challenge because I'm a writer also, and to just have the opportunity to somebody to pull something from a hat and give you to sing about, to me, is something. It's like an adrenaline to me. I love doing it.
Yeah. So you write for other people?
Yeah, but I now start doing it. So I'm trying to establish myself more into that right now. It's something I wasn't doing before, and lots of people started to tell me I need to get into it. So I'm now getting into that, actually.
And what is the nature of the collaboration between yourself and your dad, for instance? Is any? I mean, how do you all collaborate, work on stuff together?
Yeah. Me and my dad, we put out a song like 5-6 years ago. Me and my dad. And when I come Trinidad, we do lots of shows. I sing a song. We have a great relationship from small because, you know, he's your dad. So your dad is your dad. So even though he's real, he's still a dad, a human. So, you know what I mean? So we have a great relationship. We talk regular. We do lots of work together. Every time I do a song, I send it for him to hear first. And yeah man, a great father-son relationship.
Yeah, so you're looking forward to they say that next carnival in Trinidad and Tobago will be the mother of all carnivals. You're looking forward to be here? You know you want to be here already, or that is still in the works?
As I tell you, we did everything too. So I'm very, really looking forward to it, and I hope it's a success and everything turn out as they want it to be. But I'm excited.
The notes here say that so you're still working on your art, and that you're developing more knowledge and skills to remain, as you see it, at the top of your game. How do you continue to do that?
Well, when I do music, some people look at hits, some people want to be this one hit. I look at consistency. So I try to be consistent whatever I do. So if I put out a song, sometimes I go by guys and they have rhythms, and I turn down those rhythms, and they're like, I say, no, I am feeling it. I'm not just going to put a song out there for putting it sake. So I try to be consistent and work hard on what I do, and I love it. So because I love it, music come like part of me. So once I'm home, sometimes I don't watch TV. I'll build a song, I write a song. My friend come over with his keyboard, we play music, we build music. So I just live music. Yeah, I live music.
All right, but we got to leave it there, my friend. Thank you very much for talking with us. Dave Patriot Michael. I'm hoping to see you.
Okay. All right, man. See you soon for the carnival.
Take care. Looking forward to that. Take care.
All right.
We're going to take a break before we wrap things up here with our watch list, but stay with us. We're coming back.
Join me, Sule A. Joseph, as I delve into the day-to-day psychological issues plaguing our society. We will discuss behaviors that encompass the biological influences, social pressures, and environmental factors that affect how you think, act, and feel. Sight, Thursdays at 11:30 a.m., only on WESN, Content Capital.
People get confused, they go into the grocery and they're like, you know what, I want to change my life. I want to eat better. As exciting as the front of a label looks, the back of the label is really where it's at. If something has less than 5% in that particular serving of that nutrient, then it's probably a low source. If it has 20 or more, then it's a high source.
Smoothies, I'm not really into that because the texture, or I don't like what people put in this, but the good thing about a smoothie is that you can make it your own. You can literally put whatever you want. If you really like bananas, you can put bananas. If you really don't like bananas, don't put bananas. Like, it's really that simple.
What's up, Doc? Tuesdays and Thursdays here on WESN, Content Capital.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, the Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378, or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Welcome back, and we're asking you to watch this. It was described as a deaf calypso project involving individuals from Barbados, a special project showcasing the talents of the deaf community and raising awareness of the challenges they encounter. It involved people from the UK and the US as well. It was streamed around the world a couple of evenings ago. The concert saw a number of deaf performances, including renditions on the pan, singing, and rapping. We ask you to watch this.
Today also presents a different. It brought a sense beyond words and speeches that when we talk about being inclusive, that it is no longer taught. When we talk about being inclusive, it is no longer just an ideal. When we talk about being inclusive, we are talking about a reality, ladies and gentlemen. And the reality is here tonight and what we've witnessed tonight.
I just said I'd show you what's on the front page of the Newsday Trinidad and Tobago. This headline, a manhunt in Tobago for the killing of a policeman there. Other headlines, a Point Fortin woman is murdered at home. And other things on the Newsday Tobago. This is what it looks like. The THA is accused of wasting gains made by the predecessor administration there, the PNM, the People's National Movement in Tobago. Well, that's our broadcast for this edition. We tell you can always stay in touch with us here at AM Prime. You can send your emails to amprime@WESNCC. You can check us out on all the social media platforms. In half an hour, we have news at the hour, followed by today's edition of Talking Point with Shah and Small. But for now, thanks for watching. I'm Andy Johnson. We see you tomorrow.